Hello, welcome to Benjamin Tree. Today we're going to be talking about a very important function, the if function. So as you can see in this yellow box, this is the if function. So after we start the function and we label as if, there are three different factors inside the parentheses. The first one is the logical test. It's going to compare two pieces of information. If the information turns out to be true in the second part of the function, this is what the cell will display if the information is true. And then in the last part of the function, if the logical test is false, this is the information it's going to be displaying. So in the logical test, we need to compare two pieces of information, and we can compare them using these symbols. So we have equal to, greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than or equal to, and not equal to. So these are the symbols we use when comparing two pieces of information. So let's take a look at this first activity. As you can see, this is some test scores for different students, and we want to put in the C column whether or not the person passed or failed. So to do this simply, we're going to be using our if statements. So let's start off here. We're going to start the function with the equal sign, and then we're going to use if, start our parentheses, and it's asking for a logical test. So what we want to do is we want to compare Adam's test score. Okay, that's going to be B2. And we want to see if it's greater than or equal to 65 because 65 is passing. So we're going to type in greater than equal to, and then we're going to put E2 here. One thing we want to do is we want to add the dollar sign or the money sign in front of the 2. Why do we want to do this? This dollar sign is telling the equation that if you copy or you drag this equation down, that don't change this 2 here. So when we pull down, if we decide to pull down this equation to autofill the rest of the students, this is going to stay at E2. It won't move down to E3, E4. Okay, so what we want to do here now is we want to have output to say if this is true, if B2 is greater than or equal to E2, what information should we display? So what we're going to do is we're going to put a text string here. We're going to put some text in order to tell Microsoft Excel this information is a text that we want to display. We have to use quotations. So we will say pass. Okay, so if B2 is greater than E2, then the information will come out as pass. We put a comma for our next part of the function. Now it's asking us what should we display if it's false. So in this situation, what we need to do is to display text that says that this person did not pass the test or fail. So again, we're using text, so let's put our quotations. Let's type in fail. And this is the false information. Now we're going to finish this function and close it with parentheses. And we hit enter, bam, it says pass. Okay, because 73 is greater than 65, we are going to display pass. So now what we can do is we can drag this bottom box, this bottom corner here, and fill out the rest of the information. You could go and retype everything, but this autofill makes life easier. Just a quick tip, if you want to keep the color scheme that we have, we can go fill without formatting, and it will not copy the formatting from the cell C2. So as you can see through here, everybody that has a 65 or higher is a pass, and these people here with a number lower than 65 is a fail. Okay, so this is great, but the one limits of the if just by itself is that it can only, right now it only has two things. So right now we're just looking at pass fail. That's either yes or no, true or false. Let's go on to something a little bit more complicated. Okay, what happens if we want to, instead of having pass fail, we want to have a grade here. Okay, that should probably be grade instead of pass-fail. So let's type in grade. Okay, so what we have here, this is a table saying if you get a score between 90 and 100, you'll get an A. If you get a score between 80 and 89, you'll get a B. 70 to 79 is C, 60 to 69 is D, and then 0 to 59 is F. So what happens is we have 5 different choices here. So in order to do this, we're going to put if statements inside of if statements inside of if statements inside of if statements. It can get a little complicated, but let's go slowly, look at it, and understand what's happening, and then we should have a better understanding. So let's start off with atoms. So the first thing here we're going to do, we're going to start off with if, and then if Adam's score, okay, is greater than or equal to, let's put F numerical sign 2. Okay, we don't want the equation moving down to other numbers. We want to stay at this row is great. So we're going to say if B2 is greater than F2, what should our true result be? So we're going to put a comma, and now it's asking us for a true result. So let's put in, click here. It's going to display E2, which is going to come up as an A. Okay. Now, now we need to figure out what should it display when it's false. So let's just take a quick look, and we can just display not an A real quick. Okay, so this is, right now we're just looking at it. This is, if it comes out false, C2, the cell that we're typing this function in, is going to display not an A. Whoops, click in there too long. Okay, so because 73 is not greater than 90 is coming out as not an A, but we don't want that. Okay, we don't want to display that. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put another if statement inside of where the false is. So what it's saying, if B2 is not greater than 90, what should we do next? Let's make another if statement. Because this is already inside of a function that has started, we don't need the equal sign again. So we're going to make a new if. So if the value is false, let's make another if question. So if, here's our logical test, B2 is greater than or equal to F numerical sign, or sorry, $3, which is the 80, if this number is greater than 80 right here, a little hard to see, it needs to ask us what is the true value. So if it's not greater than 90, but it is greater than 80, we want it to display a B. So we're going to hit E3. Okay. Going back here, we need to add these numbers, dollar signs here, because we don't want these informations being pulled down. We want to only choose the B there. Okay, so it's only going to choose the B. It's only going to display the B if it's greater than 80. Okay, if it's not true, okay, again, if it's false, right now let's just say lower than a B. Okay, this is what the text is going to say. So now we need to close it down with our last parentheses, and let's see what happens. All right, so right now the grade is not higher than the 90, so it's not giving us an A. It's not higher than an 80, so it's not giving us a B. So because both of these if statements are false, it's saying lower than a B. Again, we don't want lower than a B, so let's add another if statement. Okay, so we're going to go back here. Okay, we're going to take out this. So now we're at the value false. So if it's not greater than 90, if it's not greater than 80, what should we do? So let's put another if statement in. So if it's not greater than 80, then we have another if statement, and it says, all right, if B2 is greater than or equal to F $4, which is going to be 70, as you can see right here, then we are going to display $4. We're going to display a C grade. Okay. If it's false, then we're going to display lower than a C. Okay, so let's hit, and then we need to close this with a parentheses. Let's hit enter. 73 is not greater than 90, not greater than 80, but it is greater than 70, so we're getting a C. Okay, so let's take this equation and let's drag it down and look at real quick. All right, so we got A's and B's displayed, but we still have lower than a C. We don't want that. We want to display D and F. So we'll undo that, and let's keep adding a little bit more information. Let's add one more if statement, so that way we can display a D and F. So let's go back here. We're going to take out lower than a C. Okay. So at this point, it's saying if it's not greater than 90, if it's not greater than 80, and if it's not greater than 60, what should we do? All right, we're going to type in a new if statement. All right, so if B2 is greater than or equal to 60 now, okay, we're going to go to F numerical sign 5. We're saying if it's B2 is now greater than 50, what do we want to display? We want to display the D grade. So that's going to be in the cell E numerical sign 5. Okay, so that's what is happening here. Now, what is it going to display when it's false? Okay, luckily we don't need another information because so far in this equation it says if it's not greater than 90, if it's not greater than 80, if it's not greater than 70, if it's not greater than 60, what do we display? There's only one more thing to display, and that's the F. So let's type in the final display will be E numerical sign 6, which is the F grade. Okay, let's close this down and hit enter. Okay, this doesn't change because we're still greater than 70 here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this down, automatically fill out all of these equations. And here we go, A, B, C, D, and F. And let's get rid of let's add the green back in. All right, so now we can see that these numbers are corresponding with the grade. Okay, so 64 is a D because it's between 60 and 69. Okay, 87 is a B because it's between 80 and 89. All right, so now you can see our equation's kind of big. So if you have lots and lots and lots of if statements in your equation, there's something a little bit easier that you can use, which is an array. And we'll learn about that later. Okay, so now you can see how we use an if statement. Again, the equation is equals if. What's our logical test? Make sure you're comparing two pieces of information using these symbols. If the value is true, then the cell will print out this value. If the value is false, then it will print out this value. Okay, so what you can do for practice, you can do the free shipping practice. Okay, this is to give you guys a little bit of hint, is just say if the shipping cost is below $49 here, then the shipping cost will be $4. So what happens if you put $4 into here, it will automatically change the shipping cost for you. Okay, but what you should do is write an if statement and then drag it down so that it automatically uses this information to calculate the shipping cost for these different orders. Okay, once you practice that, go by shipping by weight. Okay, this is going to be a little bit more complicated. Okay, what you need to do is use the information in this chart here to say, oh, okay, if the weight is this, then this shipping price would be here. As a little hint, you need to put if statements inside of if statements to make sure that it is correct. When you finish, you can check your answer keys down here in the different sheets. I hope you were able to learn a lot today, and thank you for working with Benjamin Tree. Have a great one.